Hi, this is Mark. Congratulations. You have found this amazingly awesome show. Chances are you're listening to it right now on whether it's iTunes or Stitcher Radio or some other mobile app that allows you to stream this amazingly awesome show to your ear holes. And I can't stress how awesomely amazing this show really is. But did you know that you can also catch the latest episode of this show on the Tangibound Network? That's right. Go check out tangiboundnetwork.com. You can look them up and you can listen to it right there. It's even mobile friendly. What more could you ask for? Which means you can pull it up on your iPhone or your Android, even your Windows phone. Yeah, who has one of those? But still, point remains, you can do it. You can do it. Check it out, tangiboundnetwork.com. Listen to this show, the latest episode, every time. Check it out.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time. Stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name is Jen. Welcome back to our active listeners, and welcome to any new listeners that we may have. We greatly appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. With me, as always, is Brian and Henno. Hey, guys.
Hola.
Hi.
Welcome to a very special Spanish episode. No.
¿Qué?
We're very limited on our foreign languages, but I think I know Tengo ir al baño, which means I have to go to the bathroom. I think that's about it.
Fair enough.
And a few words that are probably not appropriate, so we won't say those.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start this off, because usually I make the guys start with sharing their week, but I'll start it off. It's actually only been a few days since we talked because of the holiday. We moved our recording to Sunday. So not a whole bunch has changed over the last few days, but I did kind of want to give everybody an update on basically where I'm at with things. I am now almost, I think, completely through any mania, and I'm sleeping really well, which is a good thing. I'm starting to get back to now. I'm up to about 6 or 7 hours a night, which is much better. I'm still not back to my usual 8 to 9, which I know is anyone with children out there is just shuddering at the thought that I could get 8 or 9 hours of sleep at one time, but that is my usual. So now I'm up to 6 to 7, which is doing really, really well. For a while there, I was only sleeping 2 to 3 hours at a time. And if you hear strange noises in the background, my cats have decided to play chase the cat. So, sorry about that if you did hear that. Anyways, so things are going really well. And my husband went hunting over the weekend, and I made it through the weekend by myself the majority of the weekend. I didn't get out much, but I was very productive and got quite a few things done. I made my Christmas candy. I got my Christmas gifts ordered online. So, all in all, I'm doing pretty good. I'm in a pretty good place.
Nice.
So.
That sounds great.
Yep.
Yes, I'm very excited. So, that being said, Who's going next, guys?
I bought a car.
Woohoo! A very nice car at that.
It is actually it is a very nice car. And I dread the auto buying experience. I've had very easy experiences and I've had, not so easy experiences, but either way, it's anxiety inducing for me. Anything having to do with sales, dealing, wheeling, dealing, that kind of stuff. Unless we've talked about it, unless I feel like I really know, where I stand, I tend to just not want to deal with it. And, I feel like I was treated fairly they made money off of me, which I was fine with. Our credit scores aren't that great. It just, it wasn't going to happen like we hoped it would happen.
Right.
But here's the bottom line. We needed a car. Sharon found a car. We went to a dealership that got us a really good interest rate, all things considered. Sorry, that's my dog shaking his collar, which I'm now going to take off. It's like, what are you thinking? Dark angels and pretty freaks over here.
I know, right? Jeez.
Animals everywhere.
Pup date. Oh.
Yeah, I got 2 Fords in the driveway. Who do I think I am? Neil?
Yeah.
And this is actually, I want to say thank you to Neil because the friends are there to help you feel better and give you perspective. Mm-hmm. And right afterwards, I called Neil and he said, that sounds like a really good deal. When I got home and I started looking at some of the paperwork, I was like, yeah, I could have done better. But I didn't feel like I was in a position to do better. And like I said before, I just don't like the anxiety. Yeah. I just don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And does that mean I'm going to trust somebody maybe and get a little taken? Yeah, it's going to happen.
I actually think in a lot of ways that's part of the process. Like that's part of the gimmick on their end is that a lot of people are anxious and don't want to do that. And that puts so much advantage in the people selling the car's place.
It does.
Because, all they have to do is make a lot of people feel a little comfortable, and usually people will be like, okay, good, because they just want it over with,
Well, and they made me feel very uncomfortable at first. Well, no, nobody ever made me feel uncomfortable. That's not true.
Yeah.
What they did is they brought to light certain, let's just say, fears. And are able to capitalize on. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I loved, I called Neil today and I said, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. And he put it into really good perspective for me in a way that I could go, I can live with that. I can stop dwelling on this right now and wondering. And once again, it comes back to what we talked about this week on the podcast or last week on the podcast is, finding gratitude, finding those good things, finding those positive things in any situation. So, and one of the positives was I spent very little time. I had very little anxiety. I had a little bit last night. Now I'm over it. And, we move forward from here. Mm. And everything is every little turn has been nothing but life. It's just been life.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's all good. It's like, to me right now, what I'm happy for is functioning in this world appropriately. Right? Mm-hmm. Like just having life work like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And taking it on like you're supposed to take it on. Mm-hmm. Not freaking out, not getting overly emotional, and that's felt really good. It's been kind of eye-opening again, because I need this reminder that just being normal, quote unquote normal, and just going through life in a normal way is actually the big win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have so many things that can throw us so far off. And, big purchases, like, we were talking before we went on about buying houses, and man, I got to the point of not being a very nice person to be around towards the end of my purchase. I mean, it was like, I am going to start ripping heads off.
I'm getting to that point. Yes.
Yeah. and I sucked in a lot for a while there. Because I just needed to, I was uncomfortable. I didn't have any place to live. I was living, I was in Sharon's little apartment. I had none of my stuff. It was all in storage, and I just felt nothing that was me.
Yeah.
And so all I could do was go into protection mode. But that was just to go through the day without losing it. And so this last weekend to do normal things that normal people do every day of their lives, and to feel like I'm doing them normally, was really great. It's a total win for me to travel to California, come back, have to deal with being left to do my training, go buy a car, do these things that I have now shared over this last month. I felt really crummy about that I couldn't do these things that I should be able to do, and then to just do them felt great. And so and then back to work today. It was seamless. I'm always nervous about going back to work after I've been gone for a while. It's like, it's always like that. What happened? Guess what happened? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
I might as well have left yesterday. Like, that was actually one of the things that kind of amazed me. Was there were specific things I asked people to do, and they did not do them. So they were there for me to do. But I got to do them. I did them. I didn't begrudge anybody, whatever, that something else happened. But it was also reminded me that I don't have to feel like somehow, because I'm away from work, that I've suddenly been left behind. Oh no, everybody's procrastinating just as much as they always have.
Well, you sound like you've been doing a great job adulting.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, it kind of feels like that. And it's a nice feeling. There's still lots of work to be done, but and one thing I talked about this last week was this idea of taking care of business. Got off work today, and this is the part that anyone that lives in California will be jealous of. I got off work today. I went by, looked at a prescription. Like I said, I was talking to Neil on the phone. I said, "Hey, I'm going to go to the DMV right now," and it's literally 5:30. He's like, "You're going to the DMV right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be in and out of there in about 10 minutes tops." And I walked into the DMV and I walked out after 10 minutes tops.
Wow.
$25, done.
Nice.
Man, if you...
this is the part I love about Idaho.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you walked into the DMV up here at 5:30, it's going to be like 3 hours before you're out of there.
Yeah,
Secretary of State's much better, but still. Yeah.
There were two people at motor vehicles, one person the employees, one person at driver's licenses, and there was one customer in the entire place.
Nice.
And I walked right up, and she even gave me a hard time. She looks down and she's like, "You got rid of your Chevy and bought a Ford?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't start with me."
Right.
like it's already bad enough, please. But yeah, and then I went to the grocery store, grabbed some things because we had nothing in the house, came home, called my insurance company, got all the insurance stuff done. Boom, car's ready to go.
Nice.
And it just feels good.
Man, it sounds like you're on a roll, seriously.
It actually does feel, and you know what the thing is, it's a roll of, it's just how life's supposed to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to be in that mode.
I want to point out, like, we had an episode a couple episodes ago, the title of it was Down But Determined. And it was titled that way, mainly because of how Henno was feeling at the time. And I just want to point out again, as we talk about attitude stuff on the show at various points, how important these things are. Because the fact that he was down, but he was still determined that this was going to happen, this was going to, like, he was still looking ahead. He wasn't obsessing over behind him or whatever. He was still looking down the road, like, positively. And again, I said this a little bit last week too, you know, but it's just to see where you are now. It's like that determination, like you didn't lose that when, even though you were, feeling down, the ability to stay determined. And now where you are, it's like this today, a lot of that stuff you're talking about sounds like the kind of stuff that at various points in the past would have been like, I'll do it tomorrow. You know, it's like 10 minutes, like the DMV, like dreading doing that or something, you know, to those effects, you know, like, I don't feel, it's 5:30. Maybe I'll wait till tomorrow, you know, whatever. So that's awesome that
my
you're
goal was to wait till Friday. They're not open on Fridays. That's why they're open till 6. They do 4 10-hour or 4 9-hour days or whatever it is, right? So they stay open later Monday through Thursday. I wouldn't have looked. I would have been like, I'll deal with this on Friday.
Exactly.
It's my day off on Friday, right?
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's just that it's such a, and I can reflect this to something that happened at my work. There's a wonderful family in one of the condos, and their sons are college aged. And these people have a lot. They have means. Let's just say the boys are going to nice universities.
Yeah,
they are. There is no struggle in their lives. Truly, I mean truly. And the one son just vanished. And their mother called up one of my coworkers, like in the middle of the night, and she felt horrible for doing so, but she was freaking out. She's like, I can't find him. I don't know where he went. It is very likely that he is going to go to, you know, their condo here. And can you make sure that there's a key outside so he can get in, you know, and it's just out of love. This is out of love. It's not, you know, we're, you know, you got to find him, whatever. So sure enough, we kept an eye out and we noticed the light was on, the key was gone, and the phone call was made. Hey, you know, he's probably here. So they show up and they're like, well, we're going to wait. And it's like, well, where would somebody that's roughly 21, 22 years old, you know, where would they go? What bars would they go to? You know, and we listed them off and they went and they looked for him. And sure enough, they walked in and there he was. He was into his, you know, 4th beer, reading a book, sitting at the bar. And, you know, he had a project that he couldn't get done at school. He just, for whatever reason, he just didn't do it. And the reaction was, burn it down.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And I get it.
Sure.
I get it.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yep.
I have been there. I have done the exact same thing in school where I had one thing and I just didn't want to go talk to the instructor and just own up to it.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I blew off everything.
Yeah.
Because that's my MO. That's who I've been most of my life, is the guy that is afraid to own up to it and just cuts and runs.
Yeah.
And that is the place where that is a person that I have empathy for, because I've been that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and it reminded me of, you know, I was still that guy 10 years ago before I was shown a different way of living. And it really comes down to just one foot in front of the other. What's the next thing what's the next indicated thing? Yeah. What do you need to do?
Don't look too far ahead. Don't look too far behind. Just one step at a time.
Yeah. And I know what's going to happen. They wrapped him up in loving arms. They took him home to Washington. They probably put no pressure on him and just said, you know what, just relax for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, we'll get back to this.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of people they are. And I know, because I've been there, where you just feel like dirt. Now you're kicking yourself. Now you're beating yourself up because you've got all this love around you and you're like, oh, why do you know, I know exactly what's going through this kid's head. I can feel it. And I've experienced it so many times. And sometimes all you just need is someone to say, hey, let's just do this one thing today. And you do it and you feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe it gets you back in there and you do that other stuff. And that's okay. And his parents will be there to pick him up as many times as he falls, like my parents were for me.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't give up on me ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Ever. And it didn't matter that it maybe took 20 years for me to learn how to be an adult.
Yeah.
It didn't matter because I heard this from somebody in recovery, and I'm sorry, I'm just going off right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm
You
like,
go.
preach on, brother.
Yeah.
I heard a guy said his wife struggled to stay sober. Struggled every morning. She woke up and she said, "You know what? I don't want to have a drink today." And by the time she got done with work, she was in the bottle.
Mm.
That agreement was lost, and the next day you'd wake up again and I don't want to have a drink today. And by the end of the day was in there again. And they asked Jack, why are you still with her? Why are you with her? She is, a waste, is no good, blah, 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 this and that. And he said, where I'm from, we don't leave our wounded on the field.
Yeah.
We pick them up and we carry them. We don't leave a wounded soldier out there to die.
Right.
And he said, and who am I to say when the miracle's going to happen? I am merely a witness to somebody else's life and discovery. I don't control that. I don't make those rules.
Yeah.
And it inspired me so much. And that's when when I felt a lot of anxiety about my parents helping me out with this window, it's just an extension. That fear comes from them picking me up over and over and over and over again. But that's what they did because they love me, and they knew that they didn't know anything. All they knew is that if you pick him up, maybe he has a chance to stay on his feet someday.
Yeah, it's one of those things. A lot of people look at it as though, like, when somebody helps you up or whatever, that it's a sign of a weakness by somebody or whatever, and it isn't. It's it's just here's the way I kind of look at it is if you watch a football game, right, after the play, how many times do you see one teammate just reach down and pull his teammate up?
Yeah,
that guy could get up on his own. They're all premier athletes in amazing shape. They could get up easy enough, But he's just whatever. He just gives him a hand and helps, just pulls him up real quick. And that's more of how I see it is, you needed help up. They reached a hand out to you to pull you up. And like you said, it isn't that it's any sort of a weakness, or it's not that it's, you couldn't do something on your own at some point. It's just, somebody was just like, hey, this person, I can help this person up. And that's the thought. It isn't like, it's not, oh, there he goes on the ground again. Okay, fine, I'll help you. It's that's not their mentality, I'm sure. It's more of, like I said, you're just where oh, hey, here, and it's.
Well, it takes more strength sometimes to ask for help and to accept help than it does to fight on your own.
Yeah.
It takes more strength and more determination. Say, you know what? I'm going to humble myself and put myself in a place of vulnerability because that's where I need to be right now.
Well, yeah, because
that's the difference between.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's that difference between humble and humiliation.
Yeah.
Most of us don't want to do it because we feel like we're going to be humiliated.
Yep.
But they're totally two different things. This is not about being humiliated. It is truly about humbling oneself, and that is always a positive thing. It's that the idea that oh boy, I just totally lost what I was going to say. All right. Next.
I have something you've mentioned, brought up something that's really near and dear to me that I think I might even mentioned before on the show, but I want to make sure that everyone understands that there's a huge difference between being taken advantage of and letting someone take advantage of you. There's a huge difference there. And so often people from the outside looking in feel and will comment that you're being taken advantage of, and they only care and I appreciate that and everyone, but there's a big difference there. The difference is like with the car experience. You understood that they were going to take advantage of you in some ways because that is their job.
Yeah, it literally is. Money. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So going in, you understood that you are going to allow them to take advantage of you.
Actually, you're right. I did. Yeah.
Yes.
In a way, I did. Yeah.
You didn't walk in there and think that everything was going to be perfect, and
No,
then
I
all of a
didn't.
sudden they pulled the rug out from underneath you, and later you find out that, oh my God, they just completely snowballed me and took this great advantage of me.
Right.
That's a different scenario.
Right. Now,
Same thing with-
the difference in that scenario would be if you just went to look and you walked out with a car. You know, where you had
that was
no
way overpriced,
yeah,
and that you
like you had no
interest.
And I got talked
intention.
into something that I really, yep.
So there's
No, that's a great, and thank you for that. That's a great perspective on it. And I remember what I was going to say. It's the difference between it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission.
Yeah.
yes,
Because
exactly.
you know the kid at college, he needed to go ask for permission. It's hard, so he blew it off and he asked for forgiveness instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been my life. And it's so nice this week to feel like I'm asking for permission.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just an attitude.
Yeah.
It is so
Yeah.
is. It so is. And with your parents helping you, some people could say you were taking advantage of them. I say they were letting you take advantage of them.
Mm.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They completely understood that they were going to be taken advantage of, and they were okay with that.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference in the
Yes.
world. How often do we find ourselves in situations where we put ourselves out? Right now at work, I'm experiencing something like this, where people are getting frustrated and feeling very angry because they're working overtime, because they're putting more into it than somebody else is.
Ah, jeez. Yeah.
But when that gets brought up, first thing I do is I look at them and say, who's asking you to work overtime? Like,
Yeah.
well, nobody, but it needs to get done, so I'm getting it done. But you're making the decision. You're letting
Yeah.
the company take advantage of you. You're doing this because somebody else is not letting the company take advantage of them. You're mad at them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It's true. Yeah.
It's like, let's really think about this. Who's choosing not to take a lunch? You are. Who's saying that you can't take a lunch? Nobody.
yeah.
Nobody.
You're doing this. You're letting this happen. You cannot be mad at anyone else because you're controlling this. You know, your parents were controlling this. You weren't saying, help me, for the most part. You know, in some cases maybe you were, but for the most part, they were helping to pick you up because they wanted to, because they needed to, because they understood about what was going to happen. The kid's parents, they understood that they were
Yeah,
going to be
they do.
giving,
Yep.
you know, and that they probably wouldn't get anything in reciprocation, at least not at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But they're going to give anyways because they were letting that happen. So when you put that into perspective and you think about it in those manners, all of a sudden things become a lot clearer and you can take some of the emotion away from it and you start thinking about it. It comes back down to that C word, that choice word, everybody. It's all about the choices and how we choose to look at things, how we choose to view things, and the choices that we make for ourselves.
Well,
Now, the other thing I wanted to say, real quick, I'm sorry, is a very wise man once told me, a good deal is when both parties walk away happy. It is not dependent upon anyone else's opinion.
Yeah.
It's the two people involved in the deal. If you leave happy and they leave happy, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to have opinions. Everybody else has, everybody has a butt sometimes, and most of the time they stink. Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. You know, the other thing too is with some of this is that the thought process of, wow, I just lost what I was going to say. Jeez.
Trains are derailing off the tracks.
I know it was, I was going to tie something to the distorted thinking worksheets. I just can't remember how it was now.
Really?
So ridiculous.
Here we go. I got it. It's, when like Henna was saying about the humility versus humiliation, point is that the thinking about the humiliation part of things, a lot of times people are, like, for sake of argument, you know, like, I have siblings, right? So if I borrow money from my mom and they find out, in my head, I might go, oh, they're going to think I'm taking advantage of mom, right? Just as a blanket example. And what that is again, on those worksheets, is your mind reading. You are saying, well, they're gonna, it's like, whoa. Act,
projection,
do what you do, then let them react, and then react, you know, like, that's how that should work. Not, don't go, oh, well, they're gonna be, well, you're taking advantage of the situation, or man, you know, because they may not. And as we've talked on this show before, most of the time, those projections turn out to just be, rubbish. You know, there's so many times where, you know, we think that, and then you find out that no one cares because they're too worried about their own selves, you know, to care. And the other side of it would be this, like, so what if they do? You know, the only people you should care about the opinions of is, if I need money and I go to my mom and say, can I borrow some money? The only person's opinion I should care about is hers, you know, and mine. I mean, if I don't, and that's it. Nobody else's opinion should matter. And if they feel like speaking up, feel more than free to let them know that. You know, it's like, that was between me and her. Yeah. I mean, it's different if we're talking like some shady, like signing stocks and monies or something, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you know, if
all that playing ball. Yeah. It's my ball, your ball, my ball, your ball.
Yeah.
Back and forth. Don't have the ball and then assume that you know exactly what they're going to do once you give them the ball. No.
Yeah.
My ball, your ball. My ball, your ball. It's back and forth. And you have to wait for the, you know, action, response. And if you can break it down to that, you know, my action, what's the response? Okay, now I have the response, I can make another reaction again. You know, it's every single game is based upon the same basic platform.
You bring the scope back to what's manageable, what you can control, versus, you know, instead of trying to manage the world, it's like, no, just manage you, you know, and everything else will continue to exist. Every situation that's out there, if you remove you, was still gonna, you know, like a normal day at work, if you didn't show up for work, everybody else would still have things that happened that day. That it wouldn't be based on anything, you know, like, obviously there may be some stuff that was because you're not there, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, the world continues. So if you're there, the world will continue. So control you, let the world just do what it's going to do, and then bring, you know, then again, you know, like Jen said, just react then. If you can do that, then that can help as far as, like, with the humiliation feeling or whatever, is, you know, because people don't want to ask for help, but it's like, the only person who feels humiliated in that and makes you feel humiliated usually is you. You know, usually if you go to someone and ask them for money, if they make you feel humiliated, maybe you want to rethink asking them for the money. You know, I mean, because wow, what a terrible person.
Yeah.
Oh, you're down. Let me kick you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting when you stop and you break it all down and you really think about your role and your decisions and in your choices and how things all play out. Because it really is, you know, Hannah, the reason I think you're feeling so good right now is because you've opted in. You've made the choices.
That's
you know,
right.
You didn't let the choices make themselves. You didn't ignore them as your choice. You acted.
Well,
because
you know,
that was your choice.
It's
you took
something
an active participation in it.
It's interesting too, because you've also let the world come to you, and that has given you so much power in the situation, you know, because of the choices you can then make. You know, it's before, I think it felt like you were trying to force the world, and now you're just letting it come to you, you know, a little more.
True. And it does, it almost feels, and I can almost visualize it that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, to me, it's part of what I do as far as meditation goes, is that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's something that Sharon talks about all the time. It's basically opening yourself up and letting everything come in. And the key to it is not hiding from it. And so many of us, when we're in difficult places and difficult times, that's what we do. it's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But you're right. That's essentially, I mean, that's really what I've been doing for years because of what depression had done to me. It's gotten me to where I hide from things, like I openly know I'm doing it and it still doesn't stop me from, that's my first instinct is to want to just hide and ignore in hopes that things will just go away and get better basically, or whatever. And it really doesn't work.
Someday
it doesn't. And what's funny is one of the, and one thing that you just said is it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have about it. It doesn't.
Yeah.
All the knowledge in the world won't change it. All the knowledge that I had about alcoholism didn't change a darned thing.
Yeah.
It didn't. I had to finally reach that point where for me, something inside of me said, okay, no more. And it had nothing to do with intellect. It had nothing to do with how many statistics and facts I knew.
Yeah.
It's you taking action. You making the choice to take.
Yeah, and it was, and it was from a deeper source. It was from a source that this is why, this is why I believe in a higher power, is because I tried taking action lots of times.
And you weren't ready.
It never worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then suddenly one day, boom, there it was. Well, I tried it a million times before. So something changed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that some hand came down and guided me. However, there was a connection that occurred, whatever it was, the place I was in, the people I was around, the book I was freaking reading, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or it was just a matter of time. It was just because my parents had picked me up 18 times or whatever,
Right.
And it was finally for that 19th time where I'm like, I'll pick myself up this time. I'm good.
Yeah.
I got it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why that happened. I don't know why that time I finally said, I need to change this. Mm-hmm. And I will never know. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I don't care why.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I just know that life is better this way.
Yeah.
I don't. And that's why I sit there and it makes it really easy to just be like, yeah, there's some things in this world I can't explain and I have no control over. And you know what? I'll let that stuff do its own thing.
It's swimming upstream versus swimming downstream. You gotta sometimes go with the current, and all of a sudden things become easier.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So, Brian, how's your week?
Nothing's really happened for me, so it's I don't really.
Fair enough. I know it's been a short time since we
we chatted only.
Just a few days ago. Yeah, nothing's really. Nothing's really happened. I guess last night was listening to some music, and it's always amazing how I can, like, when I listen to stuff, how I always, like, no matter how many times I could listen to music for a bunch of, a long time, and then I'll just be like, why don't I listen to this more? It's so weird how much that happens, and it's, I'm trying to pack my head with, other stuff. Like I try to listen to a lot of podcasts where I learn things and, cause that's always been more me. It's like, since I don't read, I try to listen to podcasts where I feel like I'm gaining knowledge. And, because reading became more difficult to me as I've gotten older with my attention span from my depression and stuff. So, or anxiety. I don't know exactly what's causing it, but for some reason I just can't sit and read like I used to. So I try to get podcasts to do that. And unfortunately it's come at the sacrifice of music, because a lot of those times, I'll listen to podcasts while I'm playing video games, Yeah. Yep. And I used to just turn on, put on my iTunes, hit shuffle and just, whatever came up, or if I felt like a certain something, I would, and now I'm just, it's weird. It's like, I gotta figure out where to, I gotta figure out something to shift, I think, to get music more in and but it's like, I don't know what exactly I'm going to shift out, So
it'll come. come to you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make it a priority, it'll happen.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do, is kind of look at, I was thinking about it today, kind of like, okay, well, maybe, just start looking at what I do in a normal day, and not even just necessarily, it doesn't have to replace things, but are there things I do where I'm not listening? Like, if I'm setting up tweets for the podcast, or when I'm doing stuff like that, like, why don't I have, like, Pandora or something like that up while I'm doing that, so I'm listening to something? Or, are there other elements where I could be listening to music and I'm not? Like, maybe just start, piping it into those times, and then I'm not actually giving anything up. I'm, actually gaining something from it, because it will improve my mood, in the process.
Mm-hmm. And make lists of, as you catch yourself feeling a certain mood, make lists of songs that make you feel the opposite to counteract. If you're feeling really, really rough and really, really down, there's stuff that makes you feel really, really good. That is the time.
Oh, I know.
Remind yourself, that is the time for the musical therapy.
Right. And it's like, I'm not a person, I can't fall asleep to music if it has lyrics in it. Like, I could listen to like jazz or something to go to sleep, but I can't listen to music with lyrics, because my brain gets going, and then I want to, like, basically in my head I'm singing along, and then I start, like, I'll start listening to the music. So I've never been one that could really fall asleep to it, So yeah, that's never been an option for me. Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about change and mood and all that good stuff, something I wanted to talk about today, as I grab my article, I wanted to talk about body image and how we look, how it affects our attitude. And I'm not saying how we look as far as weight or size or shape or anything like that. I'm meaning more along the lines of, cleanliness, neatness, that type of a thing. It makes a difference. And one of the big key indicators for myself is when I can tell I'm kind of slowly going down a bad path, I start realizing that instead of doing my hair, I wear more ponytails. Instead, I maybe shower every other day versus every day. I'm still clean. I'm still, tidy. And, I don't let myself go too far down the rabbit hole by any stretch. But I just don't break out the curling iron. Maybe instead of wearing a full face of makeup, I only put on a couple items of makeup. Change different things. I don't bother putting earrings on. Maybe I'll throw a necklace on and I'll keep the same necklace on for days at a time versus, paying attention and changing it out and stuff. I've noticed those are key indicators for me that I'm not caring as much as I guess is the big key. It's like I just don't care as much. And it's not for anyone else. It's for me. It's like if I'm not caring as much about myself and my personal appearance, then something is going amiss a little bit inside of me that I need to start paying attention to. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, is the wonderful healing and the mood benefits that come from caring about yourself and paying attention to yourself, wearing your favorite outfits, wearing your, doing your hair, getting your hair cut, grooming your beard a certain way. What the choices we make and how it makes us feel is huge. People talk about it all the time and we don't even realize it. So I don't know.
This totally falls into something that just jumped out at me is, and we've talked about this a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. And this is that it always reminds me of that. It's a, chicken egg thing. Act as if, when you're just, you just don't want to get up. You don't want to do anything. you just want to lay in bed and hide under the covers, but you get up anyway and you take a shower, you put your clothes on, you walk outside, you check the mail, you do these things, even though it's the last thing you want to do, and it reconnects you to a little bit of humanity or whatever that is that's that part of it that I've always been like, I can use it as like a barometer, like, hey, I'm going back to the gym again. These are, and that's how I look at it. I get it. Sometimes it can be as simple as this is just how I dress. Am I just throwing the sweats on and going down to the grocery store, or am I putting my boots and my jeans on and actually making sure that my hair looks good or whatever it is? It's like, or when I go out at night, what level? I can look at where my state of mind is just by making some observations of like, yeah, I do want to go to the gym, blah, blah, I do want to do this, I do want to do that. And so that's saying, okay, so my attitude reflects my appearance, but does it work? Sometimes I think it works the other way around, where sometimes you put the effort into your appearance to help your attitude.
Yeah.
Even though it's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. It's, and there's another element in there too, is you mentioned, like, if you're, like you're feeling down, and the idea of, you just want to lay under the covers or whatever. It's like, that's why, my therapist was telling me to, on those kind of days, to, basically relocate the depression, instead of lying in bed, get up, sit in a chair, even if it's in the same room, sit in a chair instead, go into another room, sit on the couch or whatever, like, so that even though you're still dealing with those things, or, like I told her that it's very rare that I, like, if I get up, I put on clothes. Like, I don't wear like my sleep clothes all day. I'll put on a different shirt, jeans or shorts, or, depending on the weather or whatever. And, it's like, even if I don't shower, I put on clothes, and that's always a sign, because if I get to a point to where I don't even do that, like Jen was saying, and you were saying, it's like, that's an amazing barometer for where I am. Like if you ever come over and basically I'm still wearing like my sleep shorts and my sleep shirt, it's, unless you caught me, like woke me up, you've caught me, probably not feeling either sick or depressed, and, that's always been such a good thing. And for the longest time for me, that was why every day it was shower, fresh clothes every day. And I've noticed that as my depression's gotten worse over the years, it got to where it was shower every other day. And then sometimes when it gets bad, it's like, well, I can push one more day. I'm okay. I'm not going anywhere. And that's another thing with it too, is that like, if you're not going anywhere, it allows you to kind of feel like, well, I don't need to take a shower. So,
you have permission to slack a little.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe if you push yourself into, even if it's a grocery store or it's whatever it is, it's like, if you're going to interact with people, I'm the kind of person that generally will be like, well, I have to shower. Like, even if it's something quick, like a doctor's appointment or, or just going to pick up medicine at the pharmacy type stuff. It's like, let me get a shower real quick, 'cause I don't want to, and those kind of things can make a big difference in your attitudes. Like, 'cause, once you've got the shower, you put the clothes on, now you're kind of like Jen was saying with the makeup and all the other stuff. And you said too, Henno, it's like, now you're ready to really kind of face the world.
It's like you're putting, putting your armor on.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting getting yourself ready. And by no means, it's for everybody, it's completely different. So, for me, it's, makeup and my jewelry and my nails and my hair and stuff. For others, it may be just, wearing their favorite clothes or, styling their hair a certain way. For me, a ponytail is a sign of distress. For somebody else, a ponytail is a sign of major comfort and security.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So it's completely 100% individual. And it's what we're talking about is not doing this for others. It's doing this for yourself.
Yeah, 100. Well, except for maybe my shower thing, because I'm not.
That helps others as well.
Yeah.
Yes, showers do help others. But it but it is something you're doing it to help yourself internally.
Yeah.
A happy side effect of it is others may notice and may compliment you, which will help to reinforce positive reinforcement and make you feel good.
A great example of that actually was, there was a night we were gonna, I was going out with a couple of friends to a bar, and I had showered the day before and was like, most of the day I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to bother before we go out or whatever. And then I finally decided to. And when we were at the bar, I had a couple of women, like, as they passed me, be like, you smell really good. You know?
Nice.
So had I not taken that shower, I wouldn't have smelled like that because it wouldn't have been like fresh on me, you know? Like it wasn't that I probably didn't smell bad, but I was smelling, fresh of soap or shampoo or whatever it was they were smelling, you know? So, yeah, like you said, and that obviously hearing compliments, that'll improve a person's mood and, so it can.
Exactly. That's a happy side effect.
Yeah, it can turn into a big snowball of positivity there,
Exactly. Now, an article that I found is actually about haircuts, and this is centered around women, but I'm sure it can be the same way with men in its own way. Like the article, it says how a haircut helps you cope. So, in the 1920s, women cut their hair short as an act of rebellion. In Disney's Mulan, the protagonist clipped her tresses to pose as a male to join the Chinese army. In 2007, Britney Spears buzzed off her iconic platinum blonde locks in the midst of a mental breakdown. But there may be a more common reason why women take the physical plunge of cutting their hair, like maybe a breakup. Rutgers University professor of anthropology Helen Fisher believes women cut their hair after a breakup as a coping mechanism. Hairdresser Catherine Pine has seen a great deal of women who have cut their hair for this reason. In a study Fisher published in May 2010, she researched the brain activity when a recent broken-up person views a pictures of their ex. Fisher observed increases the neural responses in the regions of the control and assess behavior, control behavior and assess behavior. These people were working on the problem, thinking, what did I do? What should I do next? What did I learn from this? And it's so hard to move on, but your hair is one thing you can change. Can't change the situation, but with your hair, you're given the chance to change it and move on. So, what she's basically saying here is there's many different reasons for cutting the hair. In this one particular case, she's talking about breakups. Changing their appearance can maybe give you a feeling of a fresh new outlook, which is a very positive, motivating feeling. Mm-hmm. So especially a great haircut or a new style. So, for instance, for men, take a full bearded man and going through some downtime, shall we say, whether it's a breakup or some negativity in his life, he decides to shave the full beard and go just for a goatee.
Now, I would like to say that the Crazy Life, or at least this part of the Crazy Life, does not endorse that kind of behavior.
Shaving the full beard?
Yeah. Unless you couldn't stand having it and you grew it for the person. Like, I guess that would be an alright reason. Otherwise, forget it.
But these changes, again, can elicit a lot of positivity from other people. Mm. Maybe some negativity, depending upon if you're a full beard lover or not.
Yeah.
But, a guy who has longer hair changes his hairstyle. Shorter hair changes his hairstyle. Yeah. Same thing with women. Changing your hairstyle, changing your hair color. All of these things can be very freeing and actually can have a neurological response and endorphins and positivity from the excitement of newness, the embracing the change and the control. Yeah. Having control over something.
Well, plus
in a place that maybe you don't feel like you have a lot of control.
Right. Well, plus you'll probably, there's the potential for a bunch of compliments from coworkers and friends and, and such. So that obviously that'll add to it. And it makes sense. Like if you're coming out of a breakup, a source of negativity essentially, and then you do something that garners a bunch of positivity your way. Plus, a lot of people kind of, hey, it's a new me. And I think in ways they don't realize what they're kind of saying is like, well, the old me clearly failed here, so this new me is going to go succeed. But, and I don't think they look at it that way.
Effect.
Yeah, it's just more like, oh, he liked my hair long, I went short because, screw him, I'm gonna, this is me, I'm sassy now and whatever, or, guys will, get tired of long hair or whatever, it works all ways, but I think people kind of do that, and it makes sense, because you do. How many times you see somebody come into work with a brand new hairstyle, and everybody's, oh, your hair looks great, and all day long, or for a couple days, whatever. And that's great coming out of it. Like I said, a source of negativity, and you never know if it's the kick in the pants that you need to move forward, then there's nothing wrong with it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing anything drastic, because you may have buyer's remorse. But, there's a lot of stories on Twitter about women getting bangs and then regretting it immediately. So
we've all had our love-hate relationship with bangs. Us women, it's always something.
Right.
And the same thing with curly versus straight. It's an ongoing battle. Straight hair, you want curly you want straight.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
Now, she ends the article with, cutting your hair is about change. But it's a decision that many women make to come to terms with their life after a breakup. I think instead of breakup, you could insert any sort of life change and or negativity in their lives. And that's why women change their hair so much. I really think it's that newness, the fresh, that feeling of, okay, that chapter's closed. Now this is a short and sassy chapter.
Yeah.
And
it's a way you can change yourself that if you don't like it, you'll overcome it generally too. It's not like, oh, I'm fat now. Now I have to put in a ton of work to not be fat. I can just get it. Well, I can't, but a lot of people can just get a haircut, and it'll grow back if they go short, or if you get it dyed, well, it'll grow out. It'll, or you can change it, or it's definitely one of the aspects of a person that you can actively change, and not immediately generally, but quickly go back on. Whereas there are a lot of other things you can't do to. You may have other issues with your body that you can't do anything about or won't do anything about. And, hair is definitely one you can make those changes in.
Yeah, tell that to my dog right now.
Yeah. Listen.
Heno's dog has had a very short haircut.
Mm-hmm.
The hairdresser did not listen.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately can be a negative side effect to a sudden change in hair. There is the possibility you may not like it.
Yeah.
But, like you said, it is easy to grow back, and it is easy to change into something else. And quite frankly, if you carve flames into your beard, you can always shave them off.
I was going to say the only exception to the whole it'll grow back, blah, 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 is like for guys, I'd be, be careful if you decide at any point as a guy that you like, what, I'm going to shave my head. Be careful, because it's amazing how many guys I've known with like a decent head of hair, and then they shave their head and it never seems to come back. It's weird how that seems to be the moment when all of a sudden your hair is just like, I'm done.
And I would recommend don't touch the eyebrows unless you're just cleaning them up. But, shaving eyebrows and stuff's never a good choice, folks. And tattoos, again, a lot of people get that fresh, renewed feeling. Be very careful, because unlike hair, tattoos, as we know, are permanent, or for the most part permanent. You can get them taken off.
Or very painful to remove, and expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Expensive, painful. So just be very cautious if you're going to celebrate and create a new chapter and a newness for yourself by getting a tattoo. Yeah. Just be very cautious.
Go with hair and clothes first. Work,
Yes.
work,
Hair,
work your way into the
clothes.
others after you've had a little time to process and think about it, you know.
Mani-pedi, get your nails
Yeah, right.
done. You
Yep.
know, have a little fun. Like this stuff, it just increases the endorphins in your system. It, makes your brain fire on different cylinders. It's just overall really great attitude enhancements.
Yeah.
That you can do for yourself, by yourself, for yourself. And it really can make a difference.
Now there are some
Don't
people.
save that favorite outfit.
Yeah, there are some people like me where, changing your hairstyle is not much of an option. So, that's why a lot of people, you can grow a beard or, a creepy mustache or, whatever it is like that too. But
you can wear your favorite shirt. You can change your cologne. You can.
I can get different
There's
glasses.
lots of options.
But it's funny because, it is, and men and women both suffer from, hair loss and such. It's amazing how having the ability to switch a hairstyle or just go with a different look or whatever, it does kind of stink that I don't have those options. It's, I've joked with somebody the other day about, cause the guy said his hair's he's getting a bunch of gray hair coming in. And I was like, well, at least you get to have that phase. I went from thick head of hair to none, I was like, at least you get to be the silver fox for a little bit, maybe before, and then if it does fall out, then fine. But if not, you've got a lush head of silver hair or gray hair that, some people find attractive. I was like, I just went right to bald,
Which is very popular right now.
Yeah, it is. And, which is fortunate because, years ago it was, much, much less popular.
Yes.
But it's just funny how, it is though. It is, one last thing that, I can do like that, which it's really not a big deal. It's not like I ever was like, ooh, new haircut, new this, new, I was never really that guy either, but,
and it doesn't have to be new.
Yeah,
it can be, your favorite outfit, your favorite shoes, your favorite hat.
I was talking about hair. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like just wearing, your favorite clothes and stuff can always improve a person's mood, and everybody's got their things or, some shirts that you'll be like, oh, I don't feel as fat when I wear this instead of that, that just makes you feel better because there's nothing worse than putting on a piece of clothing and going, wow, I look like a blimp, this is not what I, immediately that shirt's in the, the back of the drawer, or the back of the closet for a long time or,
Yes.
So yeah.
Or, wow, that makes you look pregnant. Okay, we're retiring this indefinitely.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
It's like, no bueno.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I guess, with that, that's all I got. You guys got anything else?
Sounds good.
Oh,
awesome. All right. Well, if you want to continue the conversation with me, you can reach out to me at the Jen's Crazy Life on Twitter. I don't post very often, but I do check it all the time. So if you message me or, tweet me, I will be there. I promise. And if you want to contact the show, you can reach out to us on our website at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com. You can also shoot us an email at thecrazylifepodcast@outlook.com. And you, Henno?
You can find me on Twitter at Ida Henno. Find me on Facebook, Henno Heiter, and that's about it.
Cool. Brian?
You can also follow the show to see when we put up new episodes on Twitter at The Crazy Life Pod. You can check out our Facebook page, or actually, check out the Facebook group, at facebook.com/group/Crazy Life Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Stunami. You can find my other podcast, which is Salty Language, very not safe for work podcast, at salty_language or at saltylanguage.com. Sorry. You can, I thought I had one more and I don't. We're part of the Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. So please go give them a look and some love. If you follow us on iTunes, please leave a review for the show. Those things help us become more visible. Like when people go search the category that we're in, they can, it'll pushes us toward the top. And also make sure if you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you use another, podcast service, or, app, like, Stitcher, or I use Downcast, or whatever it is you use, if they have a like or a share, button, please use that. 'Cause again, that helps, make us, raise us in the rankings, or I don't know, whatever. Helps us become more visible, I guess. So, and then also I want to remind everybody that we're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals, and the show shouldn't be, seen as a replacement for therapy. Please don't self-diagnose. If you, feel like you need help, please, seek out medical help or professional help of some sort. If you need some sort of, like if you need help finding a counselor or whatever in your area, on our Facebook page, there's a notes section that's got a bunch of links for like hotlines and different stuff that can help you, like if you're in a kind of a mental health crisis situation, or to help you find a therapist, that kind of thing. Other resources. If, or if you can't find that, hit one of us up on Twitter and we'll get the links to you. And last, if you're feeling suicidal, no matter where you are in the planning stage, or if you're feeling towards the end there, please don't act on it. Please, contact somebody in your support system, or, call the suicide prevention hotline number, call 911, tell them you're having a mental health emergency, or if you have insurance, check the back of your card, or your, their website or whatever. They may have a mental health, line for you to call. But please don't act on it. And again, any thought of acting on suicide, whether it's planning or anything like that, especially, alert your doctor, or if you're in therapy, alert your therapist. Tell people, tell your friends so that they know, that maybe, maybe you just need someone to check in on you just to make sure everything's is okay. So, actually I lied. The last thing is I'll say the same pretty much as I did last week, which is, reach out to people, your friends and stuff, especially if you haven't touched base in a while, reach out and just make sure they're doing okay. 'Cause you never know when that could be enough to save a life, or you never know what just a couple of minutes of your time might mean to somebody else. So, it's a great way to be of service to people.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, your feelings are valid. Feelings are always valid. How you act upon the feelings, that is your choice. So make good choices, folks. And if somebody tries to discount your feelings, they're not part of your support system. If somebody does not accept what you're saying and says, no, you don't really feel that way, or no, that's not really what's going on, or you're being overdramatic, or any of that stuff that sometimes we hear from people, not intending to be negative, not intending to cause us harm, but it does. That's not your support system. Reach out to those and get help from those who will understand and will be able to help you. Your feelings are valid, and I want to make sure that's very loud and clear. Feelings are always valid. So, with that being said, take care of yourself, take care of others, keep breathing, and don't forget to wiggle your toes.